Button. Oh Lord. We're telling our followers. Okay. And how do I make sure that this thing... Oh no. I think it records by itself. Oh, hey Cliff. Hello. Hello. Hey, hi everybody. So I'm just hopping on here because I had an idea to just do some talking and hop up because I haven't been here in a while. And I had an idea to start this thing called Spirit Led Convos. So we just talk about God and just do random stuff. Unplanned, no script, no this, no that. Just talking about anything that comes our way. So yeah, very chill, that's it. But yeah. So how's everybody's day doing? Everybody's good? Everybody's cool? Everyone's having fun? Yeah. I don't really know how to do this thing. You know, first night for everything. First time for everything. Alright, how about we start with this? Maybe I'll start with my journey to God and we can, I don't know, chime on and just start from there. So I'll say I went to Christian school when I was a kid. Since I've been in kindergarten, I went to Catholic school. And I stayed in there until I was in the 8th grade. Then I went to a Catholic high school also. I went to St. Francis Prep in Queens. And that was also a Catholic high school. I went to church a lot. Well, not necessarily a lot. I went on Thursdays, Sundays, basically every Sunday. And then that kind of died down a little bit as my family and I got more and more busy. Then came to college. And I'm at QC, as some of you guys know, like Cliff. He's my fellow QC whatever friend. And so, yeah, so I went to school at QC, and I met this person who is now my boyfriend. And kind of that it reignited my relationship with God. I started praying a lot more. I started reading the Bible a lot more. And just kind of learning. And I always called him the catalyst because he was the catalyst to this great fire that I have right now to come on here and even do this. Something that I would not even do. But yeah, so that happened. And as my journey went longer, I joined some groups. I joined some Christian groups, like clubs and stuff at school. And I ended up starting my own group chat as well, which was also about God. Well, it's a faith-based group chat that's for people who are believers, people who are not believers and want to make friends, or people who, you know, want to deepen their relationship with God. Yeah. So I guess that's about me. I would love to hear about you guys. And we have our viewer, Mr. Real King Nito. Real King Nito. Yeah. I don't know if you want to type something in the chat. Tell me how you're feeling. If you have a story, if you have a testimony. Jimmy, how can you leave my... Oh. Okay, so now it's just us, whoever's watching this on the recording. What is something that I would talk about? Maybe I would say that, I don't know, having a relationship with God is really cool. I would say not to listen to what everybody else says about how you're supposed to have your relationship or how you're supposed to be with him, but rather form your own connection, and he'll lead you what to do. I would say not to compare yourself to other people's relationships. Whatever gifts that they have are not the same gifts that you have for a reason, because he made you specifically the way that you're supposed to be. And if he wanted you to be like that other person or have that other person's gifts, then he would have given it to you. But obviously, he didn't. So that's up to you now to use what he gave you in a way that can glorify him. And personally, I don't think that glorifying God needs to be like, God, Jesus, Bible. No, listen. You find your way to do it that'll still make him happy. Like, as my, 6th grade teacher used to say, there are many ways to skin a dead cat. Weird, but she's saying that there's many ways to do one thing. So, you show God who you are, and you show God how you're going to use his gifts. Well, the gifts that he gave you, the way that you want to show them. I don't know. I guess I have imaginary viewers right now, and I'm answering questions that I think would be brought up. I think somebody else would ask, like, how do you read the Bible? And honestly, there's no one way to read the Bible. Or somebody would say, how do you start? There's no one place to start. You don't necessarily have to start at Genesis and go all the way to Revelations. That's what's at the end. I almost said Exodus. I'm pretty sure Revelations is at the end. If not, I'm sorry. But, like, you see right now, I could have just made a mistake. And that's perfectly fine, because I make mistakes. I am not coming on here like I'm all-knowing. I just know God gave me a light, and I'm just trying to shine it and spread it and make it brighter and make other people's lights brighter as well. So there's that. In regards to reading the Bible, there's not one specific way that you have to read the Bible. You let the Spirit lead you, aka these are called Spirit Led Convos. So right now I'm just talking, and there's no right way to speak either. Same way that there's no right way to read the Bible. One thing that you should do, though, is pay attention to things that may confuse you. Pay attention to things that may stick out. Pay attention to stuff that may not even stick out, you know? I was watching this video by Jackie Hill Perry. She's like a cool YouTuber that I watch. And she explained a verse that I've heard multiple times. But because of this minor detail, it kind of shifted the way that I thought about that verse. You know, it shifted the way that I understood that verse. Because when I read by myself, I didn't look into that detail. I was just like, okay, they're just doing this mundane task. What does that have to do with me? But as she analyzed and interpreted the verse, I was like, oh, okay, interesting. New perspective. Very cool. Okay, sorry. My grandma just called me by accident. But, alright, so now I'm back. My grandma keeps calling me by accident because she got a new phone and she doesn't know how to use it. But to continue, I was talking about the Bible and how there's no specific way to read it, but that you should also read into the details and also let the Spirit lead you on where you should go. Something else. What is another question that somebody would ask in regards to God? Maybe, how do you pray? And then again, you know, there's no right way to pray. There's no... Actually, never mind. No. Okay, so there's no right way to pray. You can pray in your head. You can pray on your knees. You could pray in your bed. You can pray standing up. doesn't really matter. It's just about forming a connection with God. You do what feels right for you. But also don't be afraid to be uncomfortable in order to get closer to God as well. You know, maybe you normally wake up in the morning, say a prayer, and then go about your day. Cool, right? Maybe next time you could make yourself uncomfortable in order to develop growth and not only pray in the morning, but pray before you go to bed. And instead of praying inside your bed, instead of praying on your bed, pray on your knees or pray standing up, you know? And instead of talking during each prayer, just be silent. Sometimes a prayer is just about silence. Just as when you're having a regular conversation with somebody, there are times where you need to be quiet so that you can listen to what they have to say. So that's the same thing with God. God can't keep talking to you if you're going to keep talking, you know? So take some time just to listen to what he has to say. Take some time for him to actually answer your questions. Take some time just to be in his presence. Take some time for him to move you. Take some time for him to just do something, you know? It doesn't always need to be a talk. Sometimes just be quiet. It sounds harsh, but it's the truth, okay? And you'll be surprised by what happens during the times when you're just quiet. You could try praying with music. I used to only be able to pray with instrumental music. I never used to be able to pray with actual live music with words. Why? Because I would get distracted and get lost in my prayer. As time developed and I prayed even more, I was able to focus on my prayer and not have the words of whatever song is playing affect me. At times, though, I do still listen to the words. Why? Because that's a way that God can speak, you know? If I'm listening to the words, God may have a message for me right in there. But if I keep talking, then I may not notice it, etc. So, what's another question that somebody would have? Let's see. Or what else is there to talk about? There's a lot to speak about. Just gotta pick one. So, where is the Spirit gonna lead us? Oh, maybe we should speak about the Spirit. Isn't that? Okay, we got a visitor. Hello? What do I do? This. Oh, I think I did something. Oh, here we go. What's up, person?
Hello?
Yeah.
What's up?
Nothing. Welcome to SLC. The SLC, y'all.
The SLC. You doing big things.
Alright, so what's up?
Yeah, so let's do a question and answer Q&A. Shoot, why not?
Okay, go ahead. Hey, Rob. How are
Rob, what's
you?
good?
It's been a while. But yeah.
What's good, bro?
Hey.
Oh, my guy, Emron. What's poppin', bro? I ain't seen Emron in bad years.
Hi, nice to meet you. We're good. Still rocking it, which is a good thing, you know.
Thanks. You still going strong.
Yeah. How are you?
Anniversary coming up.
Yeah. But we're doing this thing. Well, I guess I'm doing this thing. It's called
Okay.
SLC. It's a new thing called Spirit Led Convos. So this has no prompt, no script, no nothing. And we're just talking to wherever the spirit, Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad to see you're safe. That's good. That's good.
Thanks.
Oh, let's talk about that. I think that's a good thing to talk about.
Word.
Pandemic. Dealing with like God and the pandemic, you know,
Oh, God in the pandemic.
and how that can be your safety. At least, especially that was for me.
There's a song like that.
Yeah,
You
like
know that song I like by Vashawn Mitchell? And it's like, your name is a strong tower. I run in it, God, my God, and I am safe. Just that whole idea of God being your safe haven is like spectacular to me. And I feel like that's what he was the whole pandemic.
yeah, I agree. I agree. There's really something like when the verse says, "Cast all your cares and your worries and everything onto Him." First Peter 5, you know,
Hmm.
because that's really true. And I was
Don't get
struggling
too
a
high in the
lot.
word of your heart,
Leave me
okay?
alone. Leave me alone. I've
First
been
Peter 5.
Leave me alone. That verse has just been with me all day today because everything that's been going on and all. So,
Mhm.
like, when it says that, that's actually the truth. Yeah, I see you with the hands right. It's honestly the truth. If you cast your worries onto Him, everything is going to be just fine. I was in a meeting earlier today and we had to speak about our fears and how we overcame our fears. No, we had to speak about a situation when we were fearful and how we overcame the fear. And I said that something happened with my mom. She went to go and take a test. They told her that she needs to come back in to get more testing, you know? And yeah, sure, I did get nervous at first. Like I was scared. Then you know what? I said it's not in my hands, but it's in God's, you know? Things are just going to work out the way that He wants them to. So there's no reason for me to stay here and be upset and to worry, but rather just pray, you know, speak to Him, ask Him for guidance and ask Him to take away my fear. Immediately after that, weight was lifted off of my shoulders. I think Jimmy is reconnecting or something's going on. Okay, he's cool. So a
I don't
weight,
want to see
yeah,
my headphones.
a literal weight was lifted off of my shoulders, and I didn't let anything that came, you know, phase me. And my mom was worried. She started Googling, you know, stuff about cancer, stuff about this, stuff about that, because she was really scared. And I was like, Mom, why are you doing that? All they said was you need to come back for a test. They didn't tell you you had cancer. They didn't tell you it was anything like cancer. They didn't tell you any of that stuff. So don't worry. Why? Because worrying wastes time. And I'm saying this, yes, sure, I worry because I falter. I make mistakes. But at that time, the worry was just gone. So me and my mom ended up doing a fast for one day. And just last week, she went back to go and take her test. And it turns out she's fine, you know?
Oh
Like
wow!
she's cool, you know? It's just something very minor, but nothing like cancer, nothing of that sort. And
Look at
God
God.
just worked it out. He just works it out. So there's no reason to worry because He's gonna figure everything out. So
There's something that we
same
say.
thing with the pandemic.
Oh, what you saying?
Thank you, yeah.
There's something
No,
that
go
we
ahead.
say. Yeah, there's something that we say all the time, and it's like if you gonna pray, don't worry, and if you gonna worry, don't pray. It's like you can't do the two. It's like
Mm,
God didn't create us with this spirit of fear. So how could we, in return, always be scared? You can't be scared. If especially if you know that you got God that's fighting on your battles by your side. How could you possibly be scared? King Jesus is my captain and he fight for me. He never lost a
yeah,
battle. I know he
yeah,
never will. He said, I'll fight your
yeah,
battles if you just be still.
yeah.
That's how it
And then
is.
it's like to even think about the fact that there are so many battles that we don't even see. You know, He's fighting
Mm-hmm.
all battles the ones that we have now are specifically chosen for us, right? Because in
Mm-hmm.
everything that you go through, there's a learning experience. Whether you decide to learn from it, that's your choice, right?
Facts.
But if
Facts.
you dig deep enough, you will find the learning experience from it. But in the spiritual world, what's happening right now are other battles that I can't even see. You know, a bunch of
Right.
stuff going on that I don't even know that's happening that He's protecting me from. So
Right.
there's really no worry, no need to worry because if He's fighting all this, and that, what makes you think that He won't fight for this one going on right here in the
Say
natural?
that.
You
Yep.
know?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of faith.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I think a big part of that also, Ash, is like when you understand that your power is limited You know what I mean? Like a lot of people think, yeah, I run this, I'm God, I'm this, I'm that. But when you understand for real how limited and mundane you are, then you then have the capacity to allow God to move in your life in a way that you couldn't move in your own life. You know what I mean? And so I just try to take these days just being humble and understanding like, yo, if it wasn't God, it wouldn't have been me. You know what I'm saying? God did this, and if God didn't do it for me, I wouldn't be able to do it for myself. You know what I'm saying? That way, when I do come up to adversity, I think of, oh, before, you know what I'm saying? The last problem he got me out of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have you ever had that? Have you ever had? I know you probably had that before. That last
Yeah.
problem I had. Yeah, speak about the time that happened.
I
Yeah.
mean, I can't remember a specific time right now, but I was going to say, like, on your point, how God's timing is not our timing, but rather God's timing is the perfect timing. Because even if we're going through a task, like you said, He's fought and conquered. I'm sorry for the background noise. He's fought and conquered through everything that has happened previously, right? So if I'm going through something that He may have put me into, I may think, all right, He's going to fix it immediately. But that's not always the case. And then a tendency that we may have is, all right, if He's not here, right now, I'm just going to leave. There's nothing that I could do. He's obviously not helping me out of here, so why am I even still believing? But no, that's not the point, right? He will come when He believes that it's the perfect timing to come and save you. He says He'll never give you a burden. He'll never give you a burden that you can't handle, or a burden that's too strong. Something like that. That's some verse, right? And that's a true fact. And
they never put more on you than you could bear.
Than you can bear, yeah. And all I think about is Lazarus, right? Lazarus was the one that died, correct?
Yeah.
And exactly, yeah. Lazarus was the one that died. And when Mary and what's the sister name? Martha. Mary and Martha came to Jesus, said to Jesus, Lazarus is dead, or Lazarus is dying, something like that. And He said, okay. Like, He was just chill about it. He was so chill. It's like, this person is dead. And He said, the one that I love, right? He loved all of us. So somebody right where He was, somebody that He truly loved, have deep affections for, the same way He has deep affections for all of us, He let him die. He let him go. And at that point, other people could be thinking like, Jesus, who are you? I thought you said you were the Messiah, and why did you choose to not do anything? And Jesus is just like, but wait.
There's more. But wait, there's more.
He's like, but wait. And the but wait was that He came, 3 days later, and brought him back. Why? Because that was God's timing. That was God's timing, not our timing. And He gave both Mary, Martha, and even Lazarus a burden that was not too strong for them. Why? Martha was still fine. Mary was still fine. Lazarus was dead, but he was still fine because he came back.
Exactly.
So we just have to remember that. Like, even if we're going through something that may seem like it's the end of the world, it's obviously not. It's really not. It's even when the end of the world is here, like the end of the world is the end of the world, it's not really the end of the world as long as you did what He asked of you and you get to live an eternal life. Like, it doesn't end.
It's not the end of the world.
It doesn't end.
Yeah.
Hey, Ashley.
Right. Ashley, what up?
Yeah. But you said something else. Oh, go ahead.
Now, on that point, like, just looking at the story, right, and looking at the faith because like everything for me, everything comes back to faith, and it's just like when you don't feel you when you feel you really don't have faith because Mary and Martha came to him and it was sad, and even still they said, "My brother Lazarus, the one you love, is dead," but even now we know you have the ability to save him. You know what I mean? And that's such a powerful declaration of faith. And I think that sometimes when we're looking at moments and spaces and times in our lives that just seems dead and it seems like nothing can come of it and we're extra depressed and all of that stuff is happening, we had to say, but even now I know that you can turn this around for me. You know what I mean? Even now I know that you can change this. Even now I know that there's something better than me. I mean, better for me than I see right now. Yeah. And that should be the driving factor of, oh, it may not look too good right now, but later on, I know that if I trust in God and do what I need to do, then He's going to drive me to that point. Yo, what's good?
Yeah.
DJ Good Vibes.
I agree. I 100% agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I was going to say something. That's why it's important to remember the light.
Oh, that's the bro Leon?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that is. Look at the picture.
I can't see. All right, so that's why it's important to think about the light at the end of the tunnel too, you know? Because I think it was you that sent me this post, or I watched the video. No, I think I watched the video on it. How what the Bible says to endure, and another word for endure is to persevere, right? You must remember to always endure, to always persevere, to always keep the train tracks chugging. Okay?
Yeah, that's
because, right? I remember I either got this post from you or I watched the video where these two people, a man and his son, were digging to find gold. Do you know what I'm talking about? Did you send this to me? You sent it to me? Yeah. So
I think it was a post and I sent it, or I think I know what you're talking about.
I heard it in a story.
I don't know. So it probably wasn't me.
Yeah,
but I think video. I know what you're about to say then.
Yeah, I think I probably told you. I because I know I remember hearing this story, not really seeing it or seeing and hearing like whatever. But the story was a man and his son were digging like in a mine or whatever to find gold. Digging. They dig for such a long time. Then finally, at one point, they said, all right, gold's not here. That's it, you know. Let's just go home. That's it. Let's go. Next thing you know, somebody else comes right where they left, started digging some more. Just a tiny bit more. And guess what was there? The gold. The gold. And that's a reason why you should persevere and why you should endure. Like, you just did all that work to give up for what?
Right.
You know? Yeah. So that's a really, really great example. And if you think about it, right? Whatever the light is, hey, Dion.
Yo, Dion, what's chill, bro? Bro said my favorite couple. I'll cry.
So, wherever the light is at the end of the tunnel, God has a light for you, right? There is a light there. So, when you give up, you're missing out on that light. He's not going to get you out of something to put you into something worse. It's going to be better, right? So just don't forget about the light. Don't forget about the light. Keep striving for the light. You don't want to miss out on the light. Because if you give up while you're in the dark, where are you going to stay in the dark? Why?
And you used to always tell me that too. You used to always say it differently though. You used to say like, it was something you was just like, keep going. You don't know when it's going to pay off, or like, what if, you used to ask me, like, what if your blessing is right around the corner, but you stop doing good, and then now it stopped? And that used to make me think so much, like, bro, this girl got so much wisdom. How did I get so lucky to meet her?
Whatever. But it's true though. It's really true. It's really true. You know?
Nah, my thing was lagging, so like it was crazy. You was over there talking, I see you laughing, and then I'm looking at the thing, and you're not laughing. I'm like, wait, what's going on? Like, I'm confused. And then I had to like come on my phone, but like it's really crazy. But I heard you was talking about your story, and I felt inspired. I was like, okay, she's telling her story. Her story. That's amazing. I was like, let me see if she'll let me come in.
Whatever.
She's telling the story.
But I wanted to talk about you said mundane. I don't remember why you were talking about the word. You said the word mundane for something you were talking about earlier. And then I remember I was watching this thing by Priscilla Schreier, a sermon, and talking about the importance of mundane tasks. Now, that message is still not hidden too much yet, only because I don't like to do mundane tasks.
I feel you. Leon. Yeah, I think that is Leon. Yeah, Leon. It's Leon.
Hold on.
What's good, bro? Bro, how Ashley get all caps?
If I sent him a request or if he sent me a request. Like,
yo, y'all see me? Oh, okay.
Hey.
What's goody, guys?
What's up,
yo,
Leon?
What's good, bro?
Welcome to the SLC.
Yes,
the Spirit Led Convos.
I love that. Let me drop some fire emojis in the chat. You dig what I mean? I saw y'all. I was like, y'all cute or whatever. Let me third wheel that mug.
How are you?
I'm crying, bro.
I'm doing fine, man. I saw you. I'm in a Zoom call with some friends. I was like, man, listen, let me join y'all real quick. See what's up. What y'all talking about? You know what I mean?
It is what it is.
Yeah, man. I'm big time. Look at my son Gabby in here. Gabriella. Hey, that's one of our friends.
Hey, Gabby.
What's up, Jaylani's? Yeah, Jaylani's. I don't know if you're gonna stay too long, but this is called the SLC Spirit Led.
SLC, the Spirit Led Convos.
Sheesh.
Man.
Yeah. So what y'all talking about tonight?
We were like, well, it's spirit led, so there's no prompt, no script, no nothing, just whatever. But we were just going into mundane tasks, you know, like everyday stuff that could actually mean something or impact your life, you know. And then
before that,
we
was discussing faith and how God was shelter through the pandemic and things like that. So
safety, safety, shelter, same thing.
Yeah, man. I'm just chilling, man. This semester was crazy, guys. It was a crazy semester, you know what I'm saying? But
at least you're out, which is good.
Yeah.
You're finished, right?
Almost. Last final on Friday, and we done so.
Oh, that's good.
Bro, last final was on Monday, bro.
Let's go, bro. Are you going to graduate school now?
Yeah, I'm going to Columbia. Next semester. Next semester, we're going to be at Columbia,
yes,
you know, doing whatever they do over there.
Yes, sir. But
bro.
You got anything you want to talk about, Leon? Any topic on your mind?
That's a good question, man. Anything on my mind? That's a really great question. Well, let me actually bring this up, right? I think this is a cool conversation to be had. So my friend Jada Daly, she's amazing. She attends University of Pennsylvania. Got to drop the whole thing. She's a smart sister. You know what I'm saying? And she brought up a really great conversation last night about how do we hear God? You know what I mean? And I would like to ask you guys, how do you guys think you hear from God? You know? And I'll share my answer.
You want to go first? Go.
Nope.
Me?
Nope. I love the way you hear from God. I want you to, tell how you hear from God.
No. My way.
You want me to go first? Oh, I bet you will go.
It is very unique. That is one thing.
Extremely unique.
It is extremely unique. Okay, I could say I hear God through multiple ways, but my main form of communication is with my hands. Like,
your hands?
It's really weird. It's not weird. It's really unique.
Different.
Like,
yeah. Bro, different. I ain't never heard of nothing like that before.
But it actually like I don't want to say
It
it
is.
works. Like, it's true, because like there have been times when he's spoken to me through my hands. It's through like a tapping thing, right? Because me, I like things plain. I like things straight, you know. So I remember the first time that ever happened before. I was sitting in bed praying about something. I don't even remember what, right? And then I asked him a question. I was like, God, da 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 da. If it's yes, tap my right shoulder.
Okay.
If it's no, tap my left shoulder, you know? And
Yeah.
boom, something moved, you know? And I just kept that, you know? And it developed over time. It doesn't even need to be a shoulder anymore. Could be a leg, could be holding my fist or something. And there are times where I knew something was going to happen before it happened because of the shoulder tapping stuff, you know?
Yeah, bro. She
And
be prophesying. I'd be like, bro, what?
it's really
I'm
crazy.
confused.
Wow.
Tell him about the time we almost broke up. And then,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
tell
And
him
no,
about
let
that
me give
time.
another. I'll give a better example. I have a
Tell him
better.
about that time.
No. This
Bro,
one was one that really
God saved my
shocked me.
life, bro. That's all I would say.
Do you feel okay? We got a question. All right. Hi, Kev. So we'll answer the question right
What up?
after. Okay. So you were talking about a story, a time, right? So one
Yeah.
time I had a doctor's appointment. I had an eye doctor's appointment. And I had a really big project to do. And I really wanted to cancel the appointment. So I was like tapping. I was like, God, do I cancel the appointment? And he just kept saying, no, 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 no. I ended up going to the eye doctor, but we were late. So it was like an hour and a half wait. And I kept asking, I was like, God, can we just leave, reschedule the appointment? Come on, like we could just reschedule it for another day. He kept saying, no, 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 no. We ended up rescheduling. And the time that we rescheduled to was a couple weeks later. And I remember asking, I was like, why can't we reschedule? Is something bad going to happen? Are we going to get hurt? He actually said something bad was going to happen, right?
Wow.
I didn't know what. So I'm driving in the car and I'm scared. I was like, man, I need to make sure to watch all these lights, all these stop signs, all this and that, right? And it turns out the time that we rescheduled the appointment to, a family member passed away.
Sheesh.
And luckily it wasn't anybody super close to me, so it didn't hit too hard. But I just remember my mom told me the date of the funeral, which was the date that we rescheduled the appointment. And that's the reason why God said you had to go that day. And since then, I haven't been to the eye doctor. It's like he knew I wasn't even going to reschedule. I haven't been back to the eye doctor. The funeral date took over my rescheduled date, and it's like,
Wow.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Wow.
When she
But
said that, I
yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
and he told you something bad was going to happen? And you
Yeah.
still was scheduled? Yo, I was like, girl.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
So,
I ain't gonna lie, man. That's different.
it is. It really is.
Son.
And at first, I had a time of, it was a lot of questioning, because sometimes you would think, oh, this is God, but I don't know, you know. But many times after doubting and doubting and doubting, that I just don't doubt it anymore, you know, because then that's showing that I don't believe he could do something like that. But obviously he can, and he's proved it multiple times. So
Multiple times.
yeah. You want to share, Jimmy, and then we'll answer the question that we have in the chat.
I just feel like personally God speaks to me through scriptures, through sermons, or like through weird coincidences. Like, but that's not really coincidences, but it's coincidences. You know what I'm saying? So like, if I'm doing something and something comes up, or if I'm praying about something and I hear a voice tell me to do something, and then all of a sudden I see, actually, I call it confirmation. Like anytime I see, if I pray about something and then I hear it, like if I like going to Queens, right? God told me everything you want is at Queens College, and then I immediately dropped everything from York College and went straight to Queens College. And there was a whole bunch of confirmation after that. First, it was a voice that I heard in prayer, and then it was Mike Todd's sermon that I watched called Crazy Faith. And that made me just say, you know what, God, I told you, I want good grades. I want a stable future, and I want my wife. And I say it all the time. I said I want good grades, a stable future, and my wife. And now look, he told me everything you wanted at Queens College. I dropped it. I went to Queens College. I'm graduating right now. I just my future. I just got accepted to Columbia University Graduate School, and look, my shorty right here. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we got it. So you know, just listening to God, always being focused and waiting on that still small voice that He speaks to me with, and then confirmation, and that's when I know when it's God, and I move right on.
Hold on. You're right.
Cool. All right, so we got a question.
Yeah, let's answer Kelly's question.
We're going to answer this and then end it because I want these to only be 45 minutes. And plus, this is not my room and my parents are trying to go to bed. So,
get out my room.
The question is, do you feel you need to go to church to show you believe in God? Which is a really great question.
How do you feel?
You know, I would say that I kind of learned this from you, which is you need a community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the phrase? Like a church, the same way that a house is not a home, but a house is where the people are, right?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I told my parents, he said, hey, all right. But so I would say that's the same thing with church. Honestly, you don't need to be in a physical building to call it a church. And obviously that's been proved through Corona because all the churches were closed, but yet there were still communities being formed. But one thing with a church is there's somebody you could, you know, they have a bit more knowledge than you. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's an important aspect to have, whether you're in a physical church or one that's not a physical church. Yeah, thank you, Leon, for hopping on.
I was gonna ask him next. How do you feel?
Oh yeah.
I was gonna ask him how you feel next.
So I think it's important to have somebody that you can learn from. It doesn't need to be a physical church, but I do think having some form of church or community is important.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I feel like you do need to be in church, but I don't feel like it's to prove that. What was the question? Do you need to be in church to prove?
Do you feel like you need to be? Do you feel you need to go to church to show you believe in God?
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like you need to go to church, right? Because there's a lot of good aspects and great things about church. Like Ashley said, the fact that you have community. If you're going through something, you can lean on other people. There's people that know a little bit more than you that may be able to lead you and guide you. But like to show that you believe in God, belief is in your heart, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't about the building. If you going to church to show that you believe in God, then you put it on the front for the people.
That's true.
And I'm not one to put on no front for no people. I come to church. I religiously, faithfully go to church every Friday and Saturday because I believe in the Sabbath. But the Bible does speak about having a holy convocation and just being in a place where for that one day you are all gathered together, you know, focused on God, taking a rest from everything else. You know, He calls it the seventh day. So that's why I go to church on Friday and Saturday and take that whole 24-hour period to just focus on God and try to renew my right spirit. You know what I'm saying? Try to reset my mind, try to get all the things of the world out of my mind so that I can reset and live my day to day. Because 6 days a week we're inundated with so much worldliness, so much nonsense, so much of this, so much of that. But we need that one day to reset, to be around people that's like-minded. And so that's what I feel like the importance of church is. But to show that I believe, if God didn't say, honestly, you know, on the Sabbath day, come to my rest, it should be a holy convocation and stuff like that, I probably wouldn't come to church. I probably wouldn't go to church because I would never want to do things to just look for good for other people or to show things. But because God said that, it's my reasonable service to attend church. That's how I think about it. It's my reasonable service to attend church because I know I'm there for God and not for people. But yeah, churches for me is mandatory. I be in that church. Nah, let me stop.
I want to ask something too, right?
Yeah. So,
When you said the faith is in your heart, I mean, belief is in your heart. Like,
mhm.
that was a really good point. I was listening to a podcast today and they were talking about the Pharisees, right? And the Pharisees in regards to the Sabbath. And like, there was this one verse where Jesus spoke to the Pharisees because the Pharisees were upset that he healed a man and told him to go and walk on the Sabbath. This was John chapter 5, I think. That's what it was. John chapter 5, I'm pretty sure. And it was like the Pharisees did all this for show. You know, they knew the Bible by word for word. They did this, they did that, they did this. And Jesus
Mhm.
was like, you read all these scriptures, but you don't recognize the Son of Man standing right in front of you. You know, he said something similar to that. And that connects to your point. It is about what's in your heart. Belief is not about what you show. Because if you're doing it to impress others, then obviously it doesn't mean all that much to you.
And God
It
don't hear that.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like the two men that was praying, and one was praying for show. He was like, "Lord, thank God, I am not like that sinner over there." And like that don't even sound like a humble prayer, bro. Come on, like if I was guy and I heard you say, "Thank God he wasn't like somebody over there," I'd be like, straight to the lake. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here, bro.
I'm crying straight to the lake. I'm crying.
Nah, bro,
That's
for
funny.
real, it's
The
crazy.
lake, I ain't gonna lie though, the lake sound funny. Like it sounds fun, but no. That's a different lake.
Nah, bro, for real. But like, yeah, but then that man that smote his breast on the inside and say quietly, "Lord, have mercy on a sinner like me." That's who God listened to. So to do things for people, mm-mm. But to do things for, you know what I'm saying, for
Yeah.
yourself, for God, for that personal relationship is everything. Leon, how you feel, bro? What's your thoughts on it?
So
Oh,
the
like
question,
church?
Yeah,
yeah,
the
the
question.
question somebody I don't remember. I don't think you heard
It
it
was
because
Kevin.
you left. Yeah. So the question was, do you think you need to? Good night, Kev. Tell everybody I said hi.
All right, Kev.
Um, the question was, do you feel like you need to go to a church in order to show that you believe in God? That was the question.
Interesting.
Wait, was that Kevin your cousin?
Yeah, it's my cousin.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. That's an interesting question, man. Funny enough, I read a book probably a couple months ago. I kind of skimmed through it because I got tired of it. Actually, he's a great author. His name is Tabidi. His last name is, trust me, Anjawele. Lord Jesus.
We'll
But
link it or something.
he has a book called What is a Healthy Church? And that's a really interesting question. You know what? I heard some of your answer actually about like fellowship. That's what Christians really need. Like the church ultimately is for fellowship and community. And the church is people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's so I would say I don't think it's wise for you as a Christian to just be a Lone Ranger Christian. And just like I guess try to live your Christian life, because really, like when you think about it, in the early church, like nobody, like there was no Lone Ranger Christian. You know what I mean? Like it was always done in community.
Mm.
So yeah, so I think you can't really separate the two. Like you can be a Christian without the church, but I guess to be a whole Christian, you can't be without the church.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah. I don't have a beautiful way of saying it, but I think you guys understand what I mean.
And I
Yeah,
would,
definitely.
one last thing just to close, because we're about to end it, is me and Jimmy have been speaking about this. Me personally, something that's important is wherever I am, whether it's school, it needs to feel like a home. So church needs to feel like a home to me. Where I went to high school was my second home. Where I am at college, that's my second home. So church needs to be another home for me, right? So I think that's important when an individual is on their church journey, whether you're in a church right now and you're looking for another church, or etc. Look for a place that feels like home, but also remember that it may not feel like home in the beginning. Sometimes you may need to adjust. Sometimes you gotta give the people a chance, And I had to do that because there's a church and it didn't feel like home. Not that it necessarily feels like home still, but I still gave them a chance. I didn't leave right after I came there,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say just make sure wherever you go feels like home. And home doesn't necessarily mean a yes man or yes woman either. You need a church that'll correct, teach, educate, right? Not just agree with everything that you have to say. Because if you're there to learn and all they're saying is yes to whatever you're talking about, then you're not learning anything at the end of the day. So yeah. Thank you everybody for hopping on to the SLC, the Spirit Led Convo. And we shall see you. Oh, yes. Walk by faith and not by sight. And we'll see you guys another time. Bye.
No.
All right. Bye.
Why she did the outro like she was
because I didn't. I didn't know. I forget you guys are not on my cameras.
Oh, wow. That is so
I'm
funny.
hanging this up. Later, everybody.